Brad Boy Podcast, episode 5.
Drop them wings. Episode 5 of the Brad Boy Podcast. This is your host, Kyle Carrigee, a.k.a. Kylie Watson. Brad, the ceiling is the roof.
Yep. Tar Heels, crown them champs, man. Final Four champions, 2017 NCAA champions. North Carolina, third for Coach Roy Williams. Sixth for North Carolina.
They just passed up Duke.
That was the biggest thing.
Yeah,
everybody was
rivalry.
posting it. Yeah. Six for North Carolina, 5 for Duke.
That's big time, man. They lost last year.
That might be the most from two schools in the same state. 11 titles from the same, same state. That's big time. Listen, we're not gonna touch too much. Everybody must have watched the game. Everybody knows who won. We have two big time guests that we're trying to get on the phone line. And, so we're just going to jump right into it.
Drop them wings. All right, guys, we're back. About to dial in a special guest for y'all. Final Four coach. He also coached in the NBA and coaching for the University of Houston right now. Kelvin Sampson. Let's see if he answers.
Hello?
Hey, Coach Sampson. How's it going, man?
Going good, man.
I appreciate you coming on the podcast. We got you live on the podcast right now, man. Just honored and blessed to have you on, man.
Okay, Kyle. Glad to be on with you.
Yep, I got my Brad Boyd with me.
How you doing, Coach Sampson? Brad Boyd, former University of Louisiana Raging Cajun player. I know you might know Jesse Evans. He was my coach back in the day.
Oh yeah, Jesse's a good man.
No doubt. Love playing for Coach Evans, man. Great players, coach.
Yeah, it's good to talk. Good to talk to you, Brad.
No doubt. We really appreciate it, Coach, very much, man. We recording it. It's not live or nothing. We're going to kind of just ask you a couple questions. Kyle's going to kind of start it off and, just have a little fun with it. Nothing too serious, So we really appreciate your time, man. We'll be as short as possible.
Okay. Good to be on with you guys.
Coach, I wanted to have you talk a little bit about your journey, going from the NAI level to the college and the NBA ranks.
Yeah, well, I played college basketball and college baseball at a small college in North Carolina. My role model, kind of my hero growing up, was my father. He was my high school basketball coach. He was inducted into the North Carolina High School Coaches Hall of Fame back in 1999. So that was kind of my inspiration. And then when I graduated from college, I received an academic scholarship to go to Michigan State to work on my master's degree. So I go to Michigan State and I work with Judd Heathcote at Michigan State. And now when Judd's from the state of Washington, but his freshman year in college, he went to an NAI school in Montana called Montana Tech, an engineering college. And while I was working for Judd out at Michigan State, he asked me about would I be interested in going out to Montana Tech. And actually one of our other assistants was the head coach, and he offered me an assistant coaching position. So my wife and I we'd been married for about a year, and we took off and left East Lansing, Michigan, and put everything we owned in the back of a small U-Haul because we didn't own that much. Hauled the car that we owned. We got up to that U-Haul and took off and drove from Michigan to Montana. And I was there probably 3 months, August, September, October, well, maybe 5 months to around Christmas. And the guy that I went out there resigned, and I was 25 years old, and they offered me the head coaching job on an interim basis, and I took it. And so I was... I don't think that school, if I remember right, I don't think they'd ever had a winning season in basketball, which tells you how bad the job was. If it had been a good job, they'd have never hired me.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether I was on foot or horseback at that time. But my first season we went 4-23, and then the next 3 seasons we won over 20 games 3 seasons in a row, and then I got offered a job at a Division I school, Washington State University. I went there as an assistant coach, and after my second year, the head coach got the head coaching job at University of Nevada, Reno. He left Washington State to go there because he felt like he had a better chance to get the NCAA tournament. And this is where Judd Heathcote comes in play again. And Judd, Judd won a national championship at Michigan State with Magic Johnson. And Judd graduated from Washington State, so he called him and said, hire Kelvin. And, well, they hired Kelvin. And so I stayed there for 7 years as a head coach. The last 4 years, we had really good teams, went to the NCAA tournament, and that led me to Oklahoma. Probably the thing I'm most proud of at Oklahoma is that the 12 years we were there, we were ranked in the top 25 all 12 years. And I've always been proud of that consistency. That speaks to our staff and kind of players that we have. And then after that, I took a job at Indiana, was there for 2 years, and then left there and went to work with the San Antonio Spurs.
We had a little bit of technical difficulty. When we come back, Coach Sampson is talking about his Final Four run and the teams he played during the regular season of that Final Four run he had at Oklahoma.
We had a really good Michigan State, at Connecticut, home to Arkansas. That's when Arkansas was really good. We played Maryland. We played Maryland, Connecticut, Michigan State, and Arkansas non-conference that year. Early in the year, when we went through conditioning and we got to October, I remember telling one of my assistant coaches that there was a kid on the team, a 6'10" kid by the name of Jabari Brown. So if Jabari can handle, if he can rebound, if he'll rebound, I think we can be really good, because Quannas is a little bit better than I thought he was going to be. Quannas is a really smart, tough, heady point guard with great instincts, and that always makes your team better than you think they are going to be if you got a heady, smart point guard. But we went through the early part of that schedule. We lost to Michigan State in overtime, I think 72-71 maybe, something like that. And I loved the way our team reacted to that game in the locker room. I think Quannas cried, kicked chairs, pissed off. And I, even though we had a chance to win, it's not a bad loss, because Michigan State wound up being really good that year too.
Yeah.
And then we moved to our next hurdle, was Connecticut. Now, Connecticut had Emeka Okafor, Ben Gordon, Karan Butler. I think they had 4 first-round draft picks on that team, and we played them at Connecticut and won.
Wow.
And I think we had 23 offensive rebounds, which was a huge emphasis for that team. And after we came back from Connecticut, I think we won 7 in a row, and then we played at Arkansas, and Arkansas was good. And I think we beat them pretty good. I don't think we beat them by 15 or 20, but it might have been 10 or 15. But it was a convincing road win, and now we started getting a lot of confidence. And then right before Christmas, we played Maryland. Now, Maryland won the national championship that year, but we played Maryland at home and beat them by 20. And they had a good team. They had Juan Dixon and Baxter.
They had our guy. They had our guy from Rain, Louisiana, Byron Mouton, on that team out there in Maryland.
Yep, and we smacked them pretty good. They would have probably beat us at their place, and we beat them at our place. It's one of those deals, you know. Two good teams, and good teams aren't going to lose at home. And so we go into Christmas break. I think our record was, if I'm not mistaken, might have been 11-1, and now we're ranked. I think we're ranked around 10th in the country. 10th, I think 10 or 12, something like that. But we're starting to really move up. Once we get into conference play, we go 13-3 in the league, and so we finished the regular season second to Kansas. And I always thought Kansas had a huge advantage because it was a North and South back then. In the South, you had to play Texas twice, Oklahoma State twice, Texas Tech twice. Who else? Texas A&M weren't very good back then, but those other teams were. And in the North wasn't quite as good. Kansas, obvious power there, but other than Missouri, not a lot of great competition. So, and they only had to play the South once, and we had to play the North twice. So we wound up losing to We lost at Kansas, we lost at Oklahoma State, and we lost at Texas. And then we beat everybody else. So I think we were 16 conference games. I think we finished 13-3. Then we get into the tournament, and we were a 2 seed. I think we were ranked 3rd or 4th in the nation at this time. Top 5 for sure. When our first game, it was a 2-15 game. The second game we played Xavier. That was a tricky one because they had David West, and obviously he was a great college player. But we wound up beating them by 10 or 12. And by that time, our kids felt like they were as good as anybody because how good Maryland was. And we beat Kansas. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we beat Kansas in the Big 12 championship game. So now we're Big 12. Kansas was regular season champs. We were tournament champs. So now we've beaten Connecticut, Arkansas, Kansas, Maryland, Texas, Oklahoma State. And our kids knew they were good. So now we make the Sweet 16, and our Sweet 16 opponent is Arizona. I think we beat Arizona by 20 as well. So that was, I don't think we blew them out until the last 10 minutes. I think Hollis may have had 30 in that game. He was a tough matchup for them. I think they had Channing Frye, Luke Walton, Jason Gardner, that bunch.
Yeah.
And then in the Elite Eight game to go to the Final Four, we had to beat Missouri for a 3rd straight time, which is always difficult because they had a good team. I mean, they were really good. Ricky Paulding, Arthur Johnson, Bryant Kidd, kid that played in the NBA. What was his name? Keon Dooling.
Yep.
Gilbert. Talented team. But we beat them to go to the Final Four. Got up, and the Final Four was Indiana, Oklahoma, Maryland, and Kansas. And we'd beaten 2 of the 4 teams. And we felt like we were going to, if we beat Indiana, we'd play Kansas for the 3rd time or play Maryland for the 2nd time. And obviously you're confident going into that game. But right before, on a Friday, the national semifinals on Saturday. On that Friday, Quannas had the worst sprained ankle. The storyline in that game was one of Indiana's players playing on a bad ankle. But our storyline was that, Quannas wasn't our best player. Hollis certainly was, but Quannas was our most valuable player. We had to have Quannas, and he was probably at about 30% in that game. Just could not go. That's not an excuse. It's a fact.
Yeah.
And he was playing on one leg, inefficient. Wound up moving Quannas back and forth from the 1 to the 2, and it was not Hollis's natural position. He was a 2, obviously, but disappointing loss, but a great memory nonetheless.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Coach Sampson, just listening to you talk, man, I think I could listen to you tell basketball stories all day long. I mean, all the people you've coached against and, just NBA players you had to battle on the college level. We're going to have a little fun with this right here, Coach. Obviously, if you had to, you're at the University of Houston, you get to pick any of your former players to make up your starting 5. Is it safe to say you'd have Hollis Price and Quannas White in the backcourt?
Barry Gordon would be in there too.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
I recruited and coached Eric at Indiana. But,
oh, wow, yeah.
Let's go with that backcourt of Hollis, Quannas, and Eric Gordon. We can go 3 guards.
I was just about to ask you, are you a 3-guard guy or a 2-forward guy? Or how is your lineup at Houston? Do you go 3 guards?
Perfect team would be 3 point guards that all can shoot and pass. I would want one is 6'6", one 6'4", one 6'2". That'd be pretty good.
That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good, no doubt, Coach. Look, another question we wanted to ask you. In the off season, man, I know you're a family man and whatnot. What's like your daily routine in the off season? Not necessarily you got to wake up and go recruit, but just just maybe your daily routine on a day that you have to just maybe get up and go to work.
I'm very task oriented. I make notes a lot, and I'll put things to the side during the season to take care of in the off season. Like I'll take every game we play and on weekends, and I'll go up to the office and I'll put a DVD in, and I sit down with a yellow legal pad and a pencil, not a pen, a pencil, because I'm always erasing.
Yeah.
And I just watch the game and make notes. I'll look at, and I do it with a very critical eye. I'll evaluate, my substitution patterns, after timeout plays, baseline out of bounds, side out of bounds, how we switch defenses, and then I'll give everything a grade. I'll grade myself. I'll grade our defense. I'll grade our offense, and I'll do that for 30 games, and that takes me a long time, and I enjoy doing that every year. But I learned so much from the mistakes that either I make or mistakes that I feel like our team can correct, and then I'll learn stuff that the other coach did. No matter who we play, it may be Nickel State. Nickel State made an out-of-bounds play against us in early November that I forgot, and I saw, and I'll steal it and run it for us. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
I enjoy doing that. I enjoy playing golf. I enjoy reading. And I just, I enjoy hanging out with my wife. We've been together a long time, and she's been a tremendous coach's wife, and she's somebody I have a lot of fun with.
No, and that's another thing too, Coach. I'm glad you touched on that early on, because when we started the podcast, we were, thanking our moms and dads for leading on the path, and you touched on your dad being a coach and stuff, and thanking your wife. We know what it is too. We're both aspiring college coaches. We coach in high school now, and those wives have to be behind you 100% for this to work smoothly.
Absolutely. I think we've been married 35 or 36 years.
Wow.
We're actually high
correct. School. Yeah. Yep. She's right there, always right there. That's a solid wife right there. Gonna listen to your interview.
Together. She was always way smarter than I was. She graduated college when she was 20.
Wow.
And she was a second grade school teacher, I think, when she was 20 or 21, and taught first grade for a while before we got married, and then. We got married after I was at Michigan State 2 years. We got married after my first year there, so right before my second year. And then next thing you know, here's a funny story. I took her to Montana. We go from Michigan State to Montana, and after my I think my second year there, the athletic director at Eastern Montana, who we played, became the head coach at Alaska Anchorage. The athletic director at Alaska Anchorage. So she's a North Carolina girl, right? So I take her from North Carolina to Michigan, Montana. So after my second year at Montana Tech, we completely turned the program around, was winning. The guy at Alaska Anchorage calls me and offers me the job over the phone. So, this isn't an interview. We want to offer you a job as a head coach. And I said, well, let me think about it. So I go home and tell my wife, I said, listen, babe, I got a call from the athletic director at Alaska Anchorage today. He offered me the head coaching job. And she said, well, what did you tell him? I said, well, nothing. I want to talk to you first. And she goes, this is a true story. She goes, we left North Carolina and went to Michigan. Michigan, we've gone to Montana. I'm not going any further west. I said, if we make another move, we're going to go back to the East Coast. So, but lo and behold, we wound up at Washington State, and that turned out pretty good.
Yeah, that. It's kind of sounded like you had an issue with your in-laws or something, man. You kept wanting to move further and further away, man.
No, I said pretty good. That's pretty good. My in-laws, my mother-in-law could cook, man. I had no issue with her.
Oh yeah, that's a good. Hey, look, we down in South Louisiana. We love to eat. Now, I want to make you laugh too, because I don't know how strong Quannas or Hollis's golf game is, but me and Kyle play a little bit of golf, man. So when we come to Houston, man, we might hit you up and I'm sure you got some of the local spots to go play a good round of golf. We'd love to do that with you.
I'll take you to the place where they just played the Shell Open Golf Club.
Oh, wow.
Great
yeah,
track.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. I got some good friends in Houston, former teammates of mine. I go down there often, Coach, so we definitely will probably hit you up, man. And, even if we can't go play golf, just to maybe come down and watch a practice or something,
Come by the office. We just moved into a brand new $25 million NBA basketball development facility. It's got all the bells and whistles, beautiful. Our kids have access to it 24/7, 365. Brand new gym, 2 guns on each basket. There's 6 baskets in there. Weight room, film room, players lounge, nutrition area, 8 flat screen TVs in the players lounge. One side is nothing but PlayStation, Xbox. The other side is regular satellite TV. And everything we have, the women have. So it's a split building, so we don't share anything. They have their facilities, we have ours, and it's been a tremendous plus for us in recruiting as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know that when my father-in-law is actually the women's coach at the University of Louisiana, and he fights hard for those what the men have, the women have, and I was glad that you said that, man, that the women get to access some of the same things that the men do, Coach. And we want to ask you a couple more questions before we get out of here. My guy Kyle wants to ask you something.
Yeah, Coach, before we let you go, you were talking about your dad being your hero earlier, and I just wanted to touch on how does it feel, to not only coach your son, but also, to have your son follow in your footsteps and is now on the coaching staff, and what's that like?
I think that's one of the main reasons why I took the job, Kyle. My father was, I always wanted to be a high school coach. I don't ever remember wanting to be a college coach. That was never, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know anybody that was a college coach growing up. And even when I played in college, that wasn't part of my world. The only world I knew was high school basketball. And I think a lot of people in the community around where I grew up, I think they always assumed that after I got done playing basketball and baseball in college and graduated, I'd probably go back and replace my dad one day, go be his assistant coach and be the next high school coach there in the town I grew up in. And, things happen. And I don't know that you can ever plan them, or like people says, how do you get into college coaching? I don't know how to answer that question. I don't think there is an answer to it other than what you already know. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know when you get into college. I got a scholarship to go. I could have never gone to a school like Michigan State unless I got a scholarship, because my parents didn't have the money to send me to a school out of state like that. So I got an academic scholarship, and things happened. I happened to be in the right place at the right time. But my dad died in 2014. And it was about that time when the Houston job opened up, and they called me. My son was on a staff that had just got let go at Appalachian State. And it's just like everything came together at once. And I said, you know what, this will be a good opportunity to get him back into it. But more importantly, a chance to work together with him. I had such a close relationship with my dad. And, I believe in family first, a chance to help help the people that you love the most. That's always been important to me.
Yeah, that's also a great story, Coach. Last thing before we let you go, Coach, I did a little research. Correct me if I'm wrong. You played at Pembroke High School.
Pembroke High School,
and I know you're a former player, now turned coach. What was your senior stat line at Pembroke High School?
I'm gonna guess now.
guess good. Guess good.
I was definitely the best player on the team because we weren't very good. I remember the last game I played, I think I had 25. I'm assuming I averaged somewhere around 14 or 16, something like that.
Yeah,
that's just a guess.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach, listen, man, and as we wrap it up, man, I really, we just started this podcast. We're on episode 5, and we kind of said we're going to get a couple of local guys on the first couple of ones, and like, you're big time to us, man. You really appreciate, sometimes, you try to get in touch with a coach, a big time coach or whatnot, and I mean, you just sat here with us, first time ever talking with us, and gave us 20, 30 minutes of your time, man. So we really appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck at the University of Houston. Definitely going to take you up on your offer and holler at you when we come down there. And, really appreciate it very, very much for taking this time out, sir.
Well, let me tell you why I do stuff like this, fellas. One of the things my father would tell all his former players: don't ever forget where you came from. We all came from somewhere. Where we are is not where we always start. As you climb your ladder, you're going to have an opportunity to help a lot of people along the way. So I'm going to take my baton and pass it on to you. When you get to a position you can help someone, you take that baton and pass it on to somebody else. Bet?
Yes,
Great
sir.
advice, Coach. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Man. You have a good year, man. Coach, wish you the best of luck at Houston, man, and get them back to going dancing, man. I really believe in you. I think y'all on the up and up, and good luck the rest of the way.
That's the goal, fellas, and good luck to you guys.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Coach.
Man, what a great interview, man.
That was awesome.
I mean,
that was
the
unbelievable.
dude that's coached with some of the biggest coaches in the world has competed against the USA basketball team, Indiana University, University of Houston, Oklahoma. The cat won 3 Big 12 championship tournaments in a row.
I was forgetting all my questions because I was just so enwrapped in the
stories.
stories. Yeah.
It reminded me of back in the day when I lived with Bill Busbus, and late night I'd go in the kitchen. Mr. Bill would be in the kitchen, and he would start talking about his old high school and college days, and somebody that we don't really know Kelvin Sampson that well, but we've seen him on TV our whole lives. A coach that's definitely very recognizable to the look. I'm glad he likes to play golf, man. We're gonna play golf with Kelvin Sampson one day. For him to give us the time of day though,
almost 30 minutes.
30 minutes, man. To
unbelievable.
Big time coach, man. I mean, we got to ask him a bunch of questions. He pretty much, obviously, he's done interviews before, man, because he ran it down to a T exactly. What we wanted to kind of hear, and gave us a couple of little, I like to call tidbits, some fun facts.
Right.
Good to know that Hollis Price, Quannas White, Eric Gordon. I mean, could you imagine matching up in that backcourt in college? Jeez, you just need the 2 rebounders he was talking about. That's it. Big forward, big center, and good to go, man. That I guess this is why we started doing it, man. We're gonna have a chance here and there to get some big time, interviewees on here, man. Definitely shout out Kelvin Sampson.
And it doesn't stop there. We actually got another guy coming on the line in a little bit who played for Coach Sampson and was the point guard for that Final Four run. So, it's going to be hard to top episode 5 after this, but we're just on the up and up.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So, we're going to take a short break, give a shout out to our sponsors like we already do. Come back in there, drop that wings section, man. Drop that wings. Coming back with another great guest.
At this time, we want to thank our sponsors, the Brad Boyd Podcast, hosted by Kyle Carrigee. We want to thank Knight Construction, and we want to thank Lafayette Winair, a Timstar service company and provider.
Welcome back in, man, to the Brad Boyd Podcast. I always got my main man, Kylie Watson.
Man, I just went on the internet, and when we go live with this thing, I'm going to have Kylie Watson jerseys. So you're going to see me around town with the official Kylie Watson jersey.
Official Kylie Watson jerseys. Official Brad Boyd Podcast tees.
Yes.
Can't wait till our main man, White Chocolate, a.k.a. Ryan Cormier, finishes a little logo. The logo is going to be tight, really tight, man. Cartoon type figure, action type figure. It's going to be really something special, man. Episode 5, man, what a great interview. We just finished up with Kelvin Sampson, man. We're about to call up another big-time guest, man. Big-time guest. Personal friend of yours.
Yes. I consider him family.
Yeah,
man.
family, man.
He got me into coaching. I played with his younger brother, Josh White, at Christian Life Academy. And he actually, this week, just became the assistant coach at the University of Houston. So this is huge.
Yeah, this is big time, man. Let's let's call Coach White, man.
All right, let's do it.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Q?
Ain't nothing.
What's up, man? We got you on the podcast. We're recording live right now.
Okay.
I appreciate you having you on, man.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
What's going on, Quannas, man? Brad Boyd here too. Everything's going good for you. Where you at right now? You in the H or what?
Yeah, I just got out in Houston, man. Trying to get situated. Just got down there from Kentucky not too long ago. I actually came back from the Final Four, so now I'm just trying to get situated, man.
Well, look, Coach White, as I refer to you then, man, I made many a trips up to Bowling Green, Western Kentucky, man, and I have to say, I know you're gonna agree, from moving there to what we call the H, I mean, you got to be in heaven right now.
Houston being a big city, man, but most importantly, the biggest thing, man, is my wife. She's from here, and my wife getting to come home and spend time with her family, because she's followed me all throughout my playing career, and as well as my AAU days, and when we first got married, we moved to Louisiana, and I got to be around my family, man. So it's time that I give back to her. So this has been a blessing. But Bowling Green was great. I mean, I loved it. I loved the town. Smaller town, it's not a big city like Houston, man. But I loved my 1 year there.
No doubt. Did you eat the steak and shake a lot out there in Bowling Green, or what?
You know what, man? Many late nights staying in that office and scouting and grinding. I passed that steak and shake up, and to tell you, to be honest, I never stopped and got one of those good burgers, man.
No doubt.
Or those shakes.
I just remember that because the hotel we'd always stay in when we go up to Bowling Green to play them, they had a steak and shake right in front of the hotel, and that was our, if we were able to beat Western Kentucky on that night, our coach kind of let us go out or whatnot, and that would always be our late night stop right before we come back to the hotel. We'd stop in at that steak and shake, get one of those good steak burgers and a chocolate shake, man. But I always remember that about Bowling Green.
Oh yeah, nice. It's a good restaurant, good fast food place.
Q, we had Coach Sampson on the line earlier, and he was talking to us about never forget where you come from, and man, I just want to personally thank you, because I still remember, I played with your brother at Christian Life, and we got close, our families got close, and then, years later, I came to you, and I wanted to get back into coaching, and you never second guessed that, you were like, come on, right away, man, and I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate that, man.
Oh, and man, you family, and you're more than welcome, Kyle. More than welcome, but you're like a younger brother to me. You know how much Josh means to me, and you guys had a very close-knit relationship, man. But then after you graduated, and after Josh was still playing when I started the AAU,
right.
And then we got together, and you helped build something big, man. And then we had a conversation, I want to say probably 3 months ago, man. And we met at a restaurant, and I told you exactly how I felt about what you did, man, going off by yourself and creating Southern Elite, and didn't want to lose you. Thought we could have been really great together, but man, you did a fabulous job. I was extremely impressed with you, man. Extremely impressed with you, and you're gonna be a big time coach in college one day if that's what you choose to do.
I appreciate that, man, and I want to get into a little bit about you and your playing days for a second, and started out in New Orleans at St. Aug. Can you kind of go into winning that state title? And we were kind of reminiscing about you on episode 2, I think, about you playing in the Sun-Kissed Shootout.
Yeah, well, man, I've been privileged, Kyle. I really have. God has really blessed me I had the privilege of playing for a really, really good coach down in St. Aug, man. Of course, we all know the history of St. Augustine basketball, man. And that's growing up in New Orleans. That's kind of where all the kids, the young kids that came up playing basketball, wanted to go. It was the basketball school, to go to if you wanted to, definitely go play college ball. It just had that rich tradition. But and then meeting my backcourt mate who now we reunited out here in Houston. Meeting him at St. Aug and getting the opportunity to play with him, and me and him just had great chemistry, man. We both shared the same vision and passion and work ethic, man, and we was able to do something special in 1 year and won the state title at St. Aug, which was great, man. It was great memories.
Y'all played that was at the Pete Maverick Center, huh?
No, it was actually in Lafayette, man.
Oh, it was in Lafayette? Okay.
At ULL.
What was that, 98, 99?
99.
99.
I'll never forget. Never forget, man. We stayed up. Me and a couple of my teammates stayed up all night in the lobby. We might have stayed up before the championship game, before the state championship game, probably up until 3:30 in the morning. And it didn't have any effect on us, as crazy as that sounds. The next day, we were just so excited to play in that game. I would never forget that, man. It was great memories.
No doubt. Look, I want to ask you a question, man. It's a hypothetical question. What was one of the parks or one of the areas that you might have went and played pickup ball when you were in high school? Just if you remember one of the park name or whatnot.
You said where did I?
Like if you weren't practicing, pickup ball. If you went up one day, play some pickup ball, I know y'all used to hoop at Tulane or any of the recs that were outside. Where would that be?
Well, kids today don't do this. They playing mostly, all of them playing gyms nowadays. I very rarely, especially talking to as many kids as I talk to, man, they don't ever play on the park. But I believe it or not, I played on the park, man. I played on Bunny Friend Park, Pontchartrain Park. Some of the gyms I played in was Joe Brown. I wanted to play every day, and the main one I played in while I was at St. Aug, right before my 9th grade year, was the YMCA. And so I every day after practice at St. Aug, me and my oldest brother Clarence, we would go to the YMCA with my dad, and we just play pickup games at the Y. And that was some of the most competitive games.
No doubt.
Shout out to Stain.
So Quannas, we're at the YMCA. You're in your prime of high school. You're at your best that you were in high school. It's you and Hollis Price, and in walks Greedy and Dino Daniels. Who's gonna win that 2-on-2 game? The reason why Quannas.
You said high.
Yeah, in high school you were at your best. And the reason why I asked you that, Quannas, because we talked about you previously, you and Hollis Price, on our earliest episodes. And I used to look up to guys like yourself. I'd hear y'all names. I was 2 or 3 years younger than y'all, but I'd hear your names. And I think Dino and Greedy were probably 2 or 3 years older than us, if I'm not mistaken. But those are some of the, 4, I think, of some of the best guards that I knew, to come out of that New Orleans area, man. So, we like to have a little fun on the podcast, ask, type of questions like that. And, you're not gonna hurt Greedy or Dino's feelings if you say y'all would have whooped them, but I think that would have been a hell of a game that day. I think people would have probably paid to see that.
I would hope. That's a great question. But the answer is in high school, Greedy and Dino were big time, man.
Yeah.
They were big time, and I'm be honest, they were in high school. they were big. They were considered better players than me and Hollis was. But me and my guy would have been hard to beat, so I'm gonna have to go with me and Hollis.
Yeah, I'll take that. I had a funny Greedy Daniel story, and I know you know my guy Blaine Harmon, former UL teammate of mine, former Rain High School legend, state champion. Yeah. They told me one year in AAU, Blaine's talking trash as he normally does to Greedy. Greedy's talking back to him, and they told me Greedy stole the ball from him, stopped, and then handed the ball back to him and then pursued to play defense again. I don't know if you saw that or if you was around at that time, but that was the story that Greedy was that, he was that good where, I'm going to show you, Blaine. I stole the ball from you. Here you go. You can have it back and let's resume the possession.
That's cold.
No, I wasn't there to witness that, but I have heard the story.
Yeah, no doubt.
I've heard many Greedy stories. I mean, Greedy was big time, man.
Yeah.
Him and his brother Dino.
Yeah, no doubt. That was like some legends coming out of New Orleans, man. Like yourself, I mean, if you go around in New Orleans and you speak on the names of Quannas White and Hollis Price, people, and look, we're talking 18 years later since those guys played high school basketball, and people still, and Coach Sampson hit on it right. It's not always what it's a lot of times who and your basketball career took you to Oklahoma with Hollis. Now y'all coaching again together, for y'all former coach, that like, it's not really karma. I guess I need another word for karma, but it's like full circle, man. That's gotta be, and you also touch, man, and we like to talk about this too, because our wives, Kyle's wife, my wife, your wife, they kind of allow us to do this coaching thing. They're allowing us to do this podcast thing. And you thanked her. Kelvin Sampson thanked his wife, on the interview. And I think that's big when you're trying to, accomplish goals in this game of, being a coach. It's a job for us, but it's something that we really enjoy. It's time consuming. But how important it is to have that, that solid partner, man, just to, move around like you're saying. And then finally it worked out where you're going back to her hometown. I know she's got to be excited about that.
She is, man. She is. And me and Kyle talked the other day. I don't remember when I told him, but she's actually pregnant.
Congrats on that, too.
Right now, this is going to be our fourth child. And so I tell you, Brad, without my wife Leah, none of this would be possible, man. First, foremost, God. But he blessed me in so many ways, and one of the ways he blessed me was with my beautiful wife. She has been my rock. She has been awesome, man.
That's awesome.
She's been there through the ups, the downs, and my hat's off to her. Like you say, what we do is not easy, man. We on this road 24/7, and of course, we working hard and trying to provide for our family. But without that support system, man, and having someone there is solid, as a lot of our wives are, it just wouldn't be possible.
No doubt. And look, we like to give shouts out to the family. Why don't you tell us your, the ages of your 3 kids you had, maybe their names and stuff? I'm sure people would like to know.
Well, my oldest daughter is Jordan. Then I have a 9-year-old, Anaya. My baby boy is Asher. He's 4. And so I'm hoping right now for another boy.
I like the name, and I'm going to tell you why I like the name, because when we hang up with this interview, I want you to go into your bathroom. I want you to turn the lights off, and I want you to go, Asher White. And I bet you it's gonna probably sound really good, coming over that loudspeaker in the future whenever he gets that college scholarship, man. We said as guys,
that,
that's kind of how we want to name our sons. Make sure it's got to sound good over that loudspeaker, man.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I'm telling you, you're gonna be good, man. That sounds good, man. That sounds really, really well. And look, it's a podcast. We love talking basketball, Quannas. We also like to touch base, on the family side of things, and just anything going on. I'm gonna tell you a funny story, Kyle, about Quannas, and he probably remembers this. Me and Quannas, we in passing, we had probably said what's up, on the AAU, state tournaments and this to that. Quannas, to me, was the hardest worker. Remember when you was throwing that tournament, Quannas, I think he would call me or text me every other day and say, hey, what's up, coach? You can come to my tournament, da-da-da. And I think eventually we sent a couple teams, but I just respected him about that, because I do the same thing now. Me and Kyle, we throw tournaments, we host camps and stuff. You have to really hustle, man. And you don't want to really bother nobody and try to, force them to come to your tournament. But he was always so nice. You held that tournament at, I think, the Pelican or Pontchartrain Center, one of the two like that. And it was a really great tournament, great facility. But he was always on his game. Like, he was always getting another team or adding another team, and he kept me updated all the time. And I just remember that about you, man. And now to see you moving on to college, man, I want to definitely congratulate you on that, because I know that's me and Kyle's goals too. Look, I hired Kyle this year to be my assistant for my high school team because I know the same thing you know. The guy is a great people person. He has a wealth of knowledge of the game, and and we touch base on the white and black thing every once in a while on this thing. But we're both white guys. And we can relate to all races, which yourself as well. Like, you consider Kyle family now, and to me, in the game of basketball, you have to be able to cross that line, relationship wise and stuff like that. So, definitely, big ups, big congrats to, that, and I know it's coming soon, man. I know you're going to work under Coach Sampson for a while, but you got to look out for us, man, when you get that head coaching job.
No question, man. No question. That is a done deal.
I
appreciate all the good things you said, man.
Yeah, all truth.
I enjoyed my years of running that tournament, man. I thought it was a good tournament, and I put my all into it, man. And nothing's never perfect. You always try to get better, man. But I appreciate the kind words, man, and that means a lot.
Q, I always circle that tournament every year. That's the one I wanted to win.
Shout out Louisiana Dynasty, man. Shout out Louisiana Dynasty. Quannas White had it going on, man. Definitely. Hey, Quannas, quick question. How's your golf game?
Man, you know what? I can take a couple of pointers from Coach Sampson.
He told us.
He's a really, really, really good golfer.
And look,
big time golfer, man. He loves. If he's not, that basketball is, sports is his first love, and I would bet golf is right there.
And look, and you better believe. Look, we already gave ourselves an introduction and a trip, man. We told him that we're pretty good golfers. He said, "Come down anytime." He's gonna take us to where they played the Shell Open and have a round of golf. Dude, you gotta love being able to work with that guy, man. We were sitting here like we didn't even have to hardly ask any questions. The dude, I was just kind of mesmerized of him telling us, his coaching journey and stuff, and some of the people he's coached against and coached with, and being in the NBA. That's huge to be working for a guy like that. And you know what? When I Googled some information earlier in the day to try to find some questions to ask, a picture popped up of you and him, and you were playing at Oklahoma at the time, and he was your coach, and you had your arm around him, and it looked like you were maybe trying to get out of something, because his look on his face was like, Quannas, get back on the line, or something like that. But I'm sure it was fun times, playing for Coach Sampson. Maybe just touch base on how good of a coach he was, and and how good of a coach he probably still is, and what you might learn from him in the near future.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I accepted the job, man, because Coach Stansberry was fantastic to work for, first and foremost. But when I Coach called me up and presented the opportunity to me, man, I remember all I could think about was my playing days and what I learned from him as a player. Because when I was a player, I knew one day I would like to coach once my playing days were over. And so while playing for him, I try to pick up pointers and learn as much as I can, try to soak up as much as I can from him, because I knew this is what I want to do one day. And, now having the opportunity to be his assistant and work alongside of him and work for him, it's just a grand opportunity, man. We had our first team meeting a couple days ago, and so we're sitting in the team meeting. We got all our players in there and the staff, and he's talking. He's going over everything, and he gets to talking about the season and what he envisions. And, man, you sit there and you listen to him. And like I told our players after the meet was over, I said, I wish I could sit in you guys' seat again. And that's the absolute honest truth. Because if you would have been in that room, you'd have seen, you'd have felt the same thing I felt. He just a big-time coach and a big-time motivator. He gets you ready. I was ready to play right after the meet. So
that's awesome.
He sent my press release. He spoke extremely high of my abilities, man, and it's like it meant the world to me. Just knowing that he believes in me. He said, big time of a coach that I'll be very soon, and it just meant a lot to me, man. But coaching with him, I feel the same way I felt when I played for him. I'm in the best situation an assistant coach could be in, and that's the truth.
Hey, Quannas, before we let you go, I just wanted to touch base on that Final Four run you had with Oklahoma, since March Madness just kind of ended and wrapped up. Just walk us through that tournament. And we had another guest, Brandon Mouton. We kind of asked him, did he have that one moment where you just sat back and like, man, wow, this is really happening? Can you kind of go over those things with us?
Without a doubt. That happens quite often, Kyle, to be honest with you.
Right.
I was just talking to Darren Selvey a week ago, and then me, him, and Hollis got on three-way, and then Selvey hung up. Then we called Aaron McGee, and we were on three-way, and we do that all the time, man. We reminisce about how special of a run we had, and what a lot of people don't know. That team that went to the Final Four was only together for 1 year.
Right.
We lost two key guys that was on that team. Had that team been together, and next year's team, not to discredit them at all. We had freshman Kevin Bookout, D'Angelo Alexander. That team went to the Elite Eight, but that Final Four team was just special, man. It was special. Each game, getting to the tournament. That same year we beat Kansas in the Big 12 championship in Kansas. So after the game, we got to sit in Kansas after we won the championship game and wait to,
So good.
That was just awesome. I love beating Kansas now. Loved it. And so, we got to sit in Kansas and wait, to see where we were going to be seated. And it was getting to the Final Four after beating Missouri in the Elite Eight in San Jose, California. It's one of the best feelings in the world. And so what I like to do is preach to our guys, about being remembered. You either gonna be remembered or you're gonna be forgotten.
That's good.
And so that's why we talking about what that team did to this day, because we were remembered, but we were only remembered because of the work that we put in, listening to the great head coach that we had. And so that's my message to all these guys, because it is no feeling like that. I talked to a lot of my NBA guys who played in the NBA. Shammond Williams, one of my best friends, we talk about it all the time. He went to 3 Final Fours. And he also played in the NBA. And but he talks more about what him and his teammates did at North Carolina and getting to that Final Four than he does about the NBA. It's just a special journey that we had, man. Special.
That's awesome, man.
Just like we thank Coach Sampson, man, we can't thank you enough for, just giving us the time, man, to talk a little hoops, to reminisce about some of your high school days, your college days. You're definitely a Louisiana basketball legend. Your coach spoke, like you said, he spoke extremely high about you, man. He said that Hollis was probably the best player on the team, but he said you were the most valuable player on the team. I know that has to mean a lot to you, man, hearing that from now your boss, you know, and your former coach, man. So congratulations again on the job, man. Best of luck at the University of Houston. Best believe me and Kyle going to come slide through. Got to check some games out, man, for sure. And, you know, just, you know, continue your success, man. Continue, like you said, being blessed. And, you know, one day, I know your goal is to be a head coach in college, and I really believe that you're gonna succeed and do that, man. So congrats and thanks for the time. If you have anybody you want to shout out real quick, anything you're doing on the side, anything like that, feel free to. If not, it's all good.
Nah, you know, I'll shout out you guys, because y'all, you know, that's big time what y'all doing, man. I wish you guys much success, and anytime, man, anytime and anything I can do, you guys just let me know.
Appreciate that, Q, man, and appreciate having you on, man. And it was special for me to have you on, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank y'all.
All right. Have a good one later, bro.
All right.
Wow. So, I mean, you know, 2 great interviews, man. And I wanted to make sure that and I'm sure he's heard that from Coach Sampson before, but, you know, 20 years later, to have your coach who's now your boss to still remember that, you know, Quannas White held that team together.
Right.
Hollis Price was a hell of a basketball player. You know, he was really good, but he said it, you know.
Most valuable
player was Quannas White, a heady point guard. You know, you can start any team. Everybody wants that big 6'10", that 7-foot center that holds down the paint. But, you know, the guards, you know, i.e. North Carolina, the point guard Barry, you know, the shooting guard Jackson. I mean, they held that team down all year, you know. So you definitely want great guards like Quannas White, Hollis Price, you know, to be leading your team, you know, to Final Four runs, you know, big time, big time.
Right, and as a coach, man, with those 2 awards, everybody always thinks of most valuable player.
Yeah.
And most outstanding player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for a coach, you know, to give that most valuable award means you were the glue guy. Means even though you might not have been the best player wouldn't have gotten to the Final Four without the most valuable player, you know? And that's a big compliment coming from a coach, man.
Yeah. Big things to come from the University of Houston, man. That new facility he was talking about, $25 million upgrades and NBA type stuff and all the bells and whistles. I wanted to tell Coach Sampson, anytime you mention the gun, kids love the gun.
Love it.
He's got 2 guns. And we're not speaking on handguns or shooting guns or machine guns. We're talking about the gun.
You want to chase your pass.
Yeah, rebounds the ball before he spits the ball back, counts the makes, counts the miss, your percentage. A great tool for improving your jump shot. It has the high nets on it that you have to shoot over. You know, making sure you get the proper arc on your shot. You know, and you know that I'm really, it got me excited about the University of Houston now, man. Big shout out to the University of Houston Cougars. Coach Kelvin Sampson, man. We're in our 5th podcast and we're booking Kelvin Sampson.
Unbelievable.
And shout out to Quannas White, Hollis Price, you know, assistant coaches with it. Shout out to his son. He's got his son coaching for him now, which is pretty crazy because we just heard the news at Georgetown. Patrick Ewing gets the job. You know, congrats to Patrick Ewing, but he has to let his son go.
Right.
His son can't coach on the staff with him because of the nepotism rule at Georgetown University. You know, so it's got to be special for Coach Sampson. His son, you know, has 2 of his. And he said it. If he had to pick 2 guards that he could make up a fantasy college team from, he's picking Hollis Price, he's picking Quannas White, you know, and he's got a son now coaching with him, man. That's extremely good, man.
All 3 of those guys were a part of that Final Four run.
Yeah.
And now he's got them back at the University of Houston. So something special is going on.
It's going to happen. I believe it. A year or 2, watch. Houston's going to get Houston. Hopefully, get the NCAA tournament this coming year. They might have a shot bringing in some big time recruits and stuff. And you know, Houston is a great city, man.
Right.
You know, I would not deter any kid not to go to Houston. They have a chance to go to the University of Houston and live in Houston. Shoot, the H. You know, everybody knows the H. You know, and it's definitely on the up and up, man. I'm so excited right now, Kyle.
I know, man.
I mean, you know, we had 4 great interviews leading up to this point. Then we bagged we said some clout.
We got clout now.
We got Kelvin Sampson, coach the USA team. I mean,
NBA coach,
man. You know,
and we're just a small town podcast,
man. We're just local podcast, man. You know, we know though if we go to Houston,
we're gonna be taken care of.
And we're going to get to play golf when they play the Shell Open at. No problem. He said, I'll bring it, no problem, you know. So that is great, man. Episode 5, man, coming to a wrap, you know. Bigger and bigger things, you know.
In store.
We set the bar high on this one.
Yeah.
We set the bar pretty high on this, and we got to continue to climb, man, continue to grow.
But look out for us. We're going to have some stuff on the Facebook page. I think we might even come out with some videos, you know, with some dropped in wing segments.
Yeah,
you know. We got a lot of things in store. Like I said, this is just week 4, and we already had 2 Final Four players.
Yeah.
2 UL players.
Yep.
And a Division I head coach and associate NBA head coach.
Yeah. I'd say anybody out there, don't sleep on us.
Don't.
Brad or Kyle call you for an interview, you better do it because we get big time people to come on this Brad Boy podcast, you know. And just look for bigger things to come, man, like we said. And, you know, episode 5 in the books, Kyle hit on it. Check out the Facebook page, Brad Boy Podcast with host Kyle Carrigee.
Make sure you guys go on that iTunes app, man, and rate and review for us. It just gets our names out there. So if you're listening, just take the time out and leave us a review. Give us a 5-star. If you want to give us a 1-star, that's fine. But I mean, after getting Coach Sampson on, you might want to leave a 5-star.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Big time, man. Y'all have a good day. Tune in for the upcoming episodes, and we'll stay in touch, man. A lot of good things to come. Drop them wings.
Man, hold up.
Hey, no, the thing is, we are in the studio. We are in the Carrigee studio. We got our own Stanford Steve. We got Ryan Carman, a.k.a. White Chocolate, man. You know, doing anything we need. You know, just a good thing coming together, man. So we'll be good. Y'all holler, and see you soon.